A thin fog still hung over the plains of Pokrovsk when the distant roar of motorcycle engines began, rapid and repetitive, as if a swarm of metal bees were swarming from the east. Beyond the blasted roads and wrecked vehicles, dust rising high as their wheels hit the dry ground, the Russian motorcycle attack began with complete confidence. They attempted to penetrate the Ukrainian defense line with speed and surprise, hoping to outwit the troops they perceived as tired. The motorcycles carried light infantry, each armed with automatic weapons and traveling at a fast pace. But above them, in the still air, a far more dangerous enemy awaited them. At a hidden control point several kilometers behind the front lines, small screens glowed a pale blue. Ukrainian FPV drone operators, members of a special unit known for their precision and composure under pressure, stared intently at the monitors. Visual contact. The motorized column heading for Pokrovsk moved swiftly, 1,000 meters away, ready to attack. Without a cry, without hesitation, the first drone launched from a small makeshift runway, its propellers whirring sharply, piercing the cold morning air, and swiftly struck its first target. On the FPV screen, a panoramic view of the battlefield unfolded. The black dots moving below became the second target of this deadly electronic hunt. From above, the FPV drone dove sharply, striking the lead rider with terrifying precision. A second explosion came quickly, a fireball rising, scorching the ground and destroying the morale of the rest of the troops. The third drone swerved frantically, trying to evade, but the next drone had already locked on to its target. In a split second, their world was reduced to flames and metal shrapnel. From the footage, another operator at the FPV post spoke softly but firmly. Target 2 destroyed. Continue the hunt. The third drone pierced the black smoke, following the direction of the remaining motorcycle. The camera showed the shadow of the enemy jumping from its vehicle, but to no avail, and a final white flash on the screen marked the end of the brief resistance. On the ground, what had initially appeared to be a swift attack turned into utter panic. The remaining riders attempted to flee into the bushes, abandoning their vehicles, but the FPV drones continued to circle overhead, unseen hunters waiting for the next moment. From the air, the terrain now resembled a small fire pit, burned-out motorcycles, scattered weapons, and a trail of debris marking the destruction. On Russian radio, only intermittent cries of panic could be heard before everything sank into silence. That afternoon, the Pokrovsk sky returned to calm, with only the thin smoke from the wreckage of the motorcycles still billowing in the distance. The Russian motorcycle attack had ended not in victory, but in utter destruction. And in the air, the sound of the FPV drone's small propellers resumed, carrying the same message as before. There is no place for invaders in Pokrovsk, and nowhere. Meanwhile, Russia's main summer offensive has officially failed, with Ukrainian forces launching clearing operations after repelling mechanized assaults near Pokrovsk. Since August 21st, nearly 13,945 Russian soldiers have been neutralized, while dozens of tanks and armored vehicles lie destroyed across the battlefield. Putin's deadline to capture the entire Donbass before winter has passed unfulfilled. Here, the main Russian mission for the summer campaign has officially failed, in direct violation of Putin's order and deadline. Instead of taking control of the entire Donbass, the Russians lost thousands of soldiers and hundreds of armored vehicles without being able to even capture Pokrovsk. Ukrainian troops have launched a clearing operation across the Dobropilya sector, especially around Volodymyrivka, which became a graveyard for Russian armor during the recent failed mechanized assaults. After days of relentless fighting, dozens of Russian tanks and armored vehicles now lie scattered and burning across the fields. Ukrainian infantry, supported by reconnaissance and FPV drones, are searching through the gray zone, targeting surviving Russians hiding in basements and bushes. Those who can still walk are fleeing, but not eastward toward their own lines, rather deeper into the salient toward Nikhonorivka and Zatishok, seeking refuge among the already encircled Russian forces that have been trapped for weeks. Ukrainian soldiers report that this chaotic flight is only refilling the pocket with more troops, sealing their own fate. With limited ammunition, minimal food, and no escape routes, these Russians are essentially walking into their own death trap. Every additional Russian inside the pocket makes it easier for Ukrainians to locate and destroy them under the constant drone fire control. The Ukrainian General Staff reports steady progress, recapturing several square kilometers and consolidating control over Volodymyrivka and Mayak. Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky, who recently visited the front, confirmed that counter-sabotage and clearance operations are ongoing to eliminate Russian reconnaissance groups and isolated units still hiding in the area. Syrsky said that his forces will remain active after holding a field briefing with the commanders overseeing the Dobropilya counteroffensive. Since August 21st, Ukrainian troops have neutralized nearly 13,945 Russian soldiers, with over 8,400 killed, 5,400 wounded, and 124 captured. The operation is now entering its consolidation phase, with units securing logistics routes and fortifying newly regained ground. Meanwhile, Ukrainian drones continue hunting down stragglers and supply vehicles, ensuring no new Russian reinforcements can reach the front. This renewed Ukrainian advance has shattered Russia's carefully staged narrative. The summer offensive, touted as the operation that would finally secure the rest of Donbass for the Russians, was supposed to start with the capture of Pokrovsk, a key logistical hub. From there, Russian generals planned to swing northeast to outflank the Ukrainian defensive belt stretching from Kostiantynivka to Sloviansk. Over 100,000 troops were committed to this goal, backed by months of talks promising swift results. Instead, the Russian army has failed to achieve a single strategic objective, only capturing fields, tree lines, and isolated settlements across the front. Notably, for the first time in the war, Moscow launched a major summer offensive with almost no tank reserves, relying instead on motorcycles and refurbished relics from storage. However, the expanded Ukrainian drone control has rendered even those useless, striking deep into Russian formations up to 25 kilometers behind the front. Meanwhile, precision strikes by HIMARS, long-range drones, and missiles have devastated Russian supply depots, fuel convoys,